And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
Welcome to Open Connection. I'm your host, Robert Pictou. British Columbia began compulsory schooling in 1873, 1 year after introducing free public education. In 1876, the Public Schools Act was amended in order for trustees to enforce attendance for students between the ages of 7 and 12. On today's Open Connection, we open our archives to bring you this story from 1989 about a Kitwanga school's holistic approach to education.
Called Fairhaven Farm. True to its name, the farm does have a garden and greenhouse, but it doesn't stop there. The main objective at Fairhaven is to offer young people a work-study program. It was founded in 1980 by local logging contractors Ray Halverson and Odd Jacobson. Under the auspices of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, the program takes a holistic view of education, focusing on the physical, intellectual, and spiritual aspects of learning. The farm operates 5 industries, with the most well-known being the bakery that turns out the popular whole-grain breads found in many Northwest supermarkets. The industries not only provide students with some practical work experience, they also serve as a training ground for those pursuing a trade. Apart from the bakery, there's the cabinet shop, a sawmill, a machine shop, and a greenhouse. Each industry turns a profit that is reinvested in the day-to-day operation of the farm.
To help support the academy program, or to help support, like we have grounds that we need to keep up, and construction, we have to, have someone to do the construction work and keep up the houses and whatnot. So it goes back in the institution, or in expanding the business here. Like we've done a lot of expansion over the past couple of years.
Over in the cabinet-making shop, there are 3 to 4 apprentices at any given time working on learning their trade for a minimal wage. The emphasis is on quality, since the product represents the values the school stands for.
Basically, what we're trying to do is we're trying to provide a Christian environment for these guys to learn a trade. And I emphasize quality in their work, because by their work, they're representing their religion. So what we do is we make anything that people want made. Mostly it's custom kitchen cabinets, and then custom furniture like this. These desks are going into an elementary school here in Kitwanga.
Over in the bakery, the same standards apply. Using all natural, wholesome ingredients, the bread dough is mixed, weighed, rolled, and baked following precise specifications. Andre Bolduc was in charge of the bakery the day we visited. He says producing good, healthy bread gives him incentive in his work because he is contributing to the overall health of the public.
When they look to the stores, they see so much chemicals in the bread. They don't have any choice. But since we have this kind of bread, these people can recover health.
So you feel you're making a good contribution to the people's well-being?
Right, that's right. That's I call it missionary work.
Through your bread?
Yeah, yeah, that's a good testimony, a good witness that we as Seventh-day Adventists, we have a health reform, and we want to share it to all people around.
And judging from the popularity of the 5 types of bread the bakery turns out, it appears Andre has good reason to be proud of his work.
Everything is simple, wholesome, and natural. That makes the bread number 1.
The bakery's ovens are going 4 days a week, turning out some 1,600 loaves of grainy bread. It is delivered to outlets in Smithers, Terrace, and Kitimat at present, but bakery staff would like to see the market grow to include Prince Rupert and Prince George. And speaking of growing, there's a lot going on in the 13,000 square feet of greenhouse space at Fairhaven. This year, a bumper crop of cucumbers has also found its way into Northwest supermarkets. With 2,000 cucumber plants, the greenhouse produces anywhere from 5,000 to 6,000 cukes a week, and it's all done with hydroponics.
It's tried and true. and you have to keep bread on your table. And that's why we've taken the route of using an established, proven cultural method like hydroponics, and then we're beginning to, now that we've gotten most of the bugs worked out of that, beginning to experiment with other types of growing, like organic.
Hydroponics produces quick results. From the time the seed is planted, it takes only 8 weeks to produce a long English cucumber that would do any salad proud. The plants are nourished by nutrients added to their water. They receive all the elements necessary for plant growth, things like calcium, magnesium, and potash. As a result, the plants can grow as much as 6 inches per day.
Open Connection will be right back after these messages. And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
Thanks for staying with us. If you have a small garden area, you might have trouble fitting all your desired plants into your available amount of space. Upside down tomato plants can save space in a garden, and they're one of the few plant varieties can actually thrive upside down. Let us return to the archives to learn how hydroponics help plants thrive.
It comes out of this microtube, it's called, that has a 40,000th of an inch inner diameter, and drips onto the plant. Now we put it in these little plastic devices here on wire hooks that hold it up off the sawdust, so the plant roots and fungus, etc., that grows around won't go down the tube and plug it up. I've seen it. The roots of the plant grow down this tube clear inside this pipe and back down there, and so that's why we raise it up now.
As in the other farm enterprises, profits from the greenhouse go back into running the institution, and making a return on this investment is an integral part of the overall philosophy of the work-study program.
We feel that if you can't make a living here, you certainly can't train them to go out and make a living at the same business somewhere else. And so that's why we try to be, commercially oriented in our production techniques.
Hard work and productivity are a part of every day at Fairhaven. At the sawmill, everyone pitches in to get the job done. The mill produces the thin strips of wood strapped to packages of lumber for shipping known as dunnage. The dunnage prevents the lumber from being damaged when handled by a forklift. And the workers producing the wood strips include some hardy young students.
I think of our sawmill operation mainly as students that need to come here and learn how to work. And we like to think of the sawmill also as a potential for many of these students that come here don't have the money to pay the tuition, and we think of our sawmill mainly as a means of supplying the cash for them to be able to go to school. And they seem to appreciate this very much.
The students seem very hardworking and very willing to work.
It's surprising, the ones that come here and after they've been here for several weeks or months, why they fall into the program. Many of them come here and they don't like work. They've never had to work, and they really seem to appreciate the opportunity of learning how to work. And our mill provides that too, because the material is coming through there and they've got to do something with it. They can't just stand around.
And the young people at Fairhaven we spoke to agree. There's nothing like a good day of hard work.
Well, you learn to work hard.
Do you mind that?
No.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of work involved in this, but I guess, is that part of your upbringing?
Well, we have to work, I guess, to support the school.
I like work, so that's one reason why I wanted to come here.
So that you would have more activities and more work?
Yeah, that's right.
Most people your age don't really want to work.
That's what most people say.
Yeah?
I enjoy it, though.
So what things are you looking forward to doing that you've heard about this school?
Well, their camping trips and their work and the schooling. I like the way they're set up.
So are you looking forward to the school year?
Yes.
What are some of the things that you enjoy about being at this school?
Oh, we go camping and do hikes and stuff like that.
One other difference noticeable among the young women is that they always wear skirts or dresses.
We figure it's more modest, and it's just one of our standards.
So that's part of your religious upbringing, that you do wear skirts all the time?
Yes, I do.
Unlike many other private academic institutions, the students here don't live in dormitories. They are integrated into the families living in the homes scattered around the Fairhaven property. For the most part, the students come from Western Canada and the U.S., although there are students from as far away as Switzerland and Japan. Fairhaven doesn't do any advertising, relying solely on word of mouth. An interesting phenomenon when you consider how far Kitwanga is from this young man's hometown of Hiroshima. Many of the students are attracted by the wilderness setting, some by the opportunity to work in a variety of trades, but all have one underlying interest at heart, which is a quality education incorporating Seventh-day Adventist beliefs.
We believe in the Lord Christ returning soon. This is what Advent means. We believe in his second advent, that he's coming. And then probably the thing that distinguishes us the most is the seventh-day Sabbath. We believe in Saturday is the Sabbath. It's the same, the Sabbath of Jews, the Sabbath of Jesus, his disciples, and we carry that on as well, the Ten Commandments. And so probably the term Seventh-day Adventist means that we're seventh-day Sabbath keepers, and we're looking for the soon coming of our Lord.
The standards are high in all areas of learning. The student won't be allowed to go on to new courses or tasks until the level at hand has been mastered. They are expected to develop character with the ability to see and solve problems.
The ability to think and to do, to be a real benefit to society, to be able to get in and help people, and not only just make a living. The whole goal is to help people. And we'd like to have them to have strong characters where they can do that. Not, you know, have personal difficulties. They can always be a positive benefit to people.
After a visit to Fairhaven Farm, it's evident there is a lot more going on here than most people realize. Although many Northwest residents do know and enjoy the hearty homemade bread that bears the Fairhaven name.
Open Connection will be right back after these messages. And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
Welcome back to Open Connection. If you ask the average person what they know about wooden pallets, they probably wouldn't be able to have much to say. But like many unsung heroes of the modern world, we owe a lot to these unassuming wooden constructions. Not only do wooden pallets allow us to transport goods all around the world, but they also help with storing them safely. Let us return to archives to bring you this story from 1989.
Using up wood that would otherwise be chipped or perhaps go up in smoke inside a beehive burner, and pallets are in demand. George Firminick, one of the partners in Hazelton Wood Products, says they can sell all the pallets they can make. One mining company alone buys 8,000 pallets per month from Hazelton Wood Products, and then there's the offshore market.
The demand for pallets is out there. For one example, a company in Germany, manufacturer, which owns 5 factories, was looking for a supplier of pallets. And they were looking for the amount of about 1.5 million board feet per month. And they wanted a commitment of 5 years. Well, that sort of market I cannot touch, because we just don't have that kind of volume to supply.
1.5 million board feet per month, and that's just one buyer. Pallets are beginning to sound a lot more exciting. Pallets to stack products in or crating material to wrap products in are in demand. Despite that demand, the nearest producer of pallets is Vancouver. That means Firminick and partner Greg Grattan have the advantage of locale in the Northwest. For buyers like fish packers in Prince Rupert and Northwest mining operations, Hazelton Wood Products is established now, filling some of the market demand, but it started as a backyard operation.
We found that there was an abundance at the time of wasteful products, boards of such of low grade that were not being utilized. So we capitalized on that by manufacturing pallets in a very small way. And what that happened, it was when we done that, it opened a lot of doors. We realized in a short time there's quite a demand for a product of such in the Northwest.
But pallet production isn't the be-all and end-all for this company. Remanufacturing means more than that.
Clear furniture stock, window stock, door stock, etc., finger joining, edge gluing. The list can literally be endless with the possibilities with a facility like this in Hazelton. Last year we sent a considerable amount, to me it's a considerable amount, which was about 3 trucks of wood, cut to size, specific lengths, thicknesses, specifically for Yamaha pianos to be created in that lumber.
So they're not actually stacking their products on pallets so much as using the material to box them.
That's right. There is different materials require different methods of transportation and means of handling. This is where we specialize, that we can either build a pallet to suit, or we can supply the lumber to suit.
Firmenich and Grattan see opportunity. They currently employ about a dozen people during pallet production. With increased remanufacturing, the number of jobs could go up, but more important to Firmenich, the jobs would be steady, not the seasonal off and on work available now.
We don't have trouble finding employees. We get a tremendous response of people that are willing and wanting to come to work here. And one of our goals is to change the seasonal and work, go home, come back, maybe, type of attitude. We like to bring in an industry that, yes, you got a job here as long as you want to work.
So expansion, more production, more secure employment. How do you get that?
Open Connection will be right back after these messages. And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
In 2001, artist Justin Garnack started selling garbage. 100% authentic New York City garbage, handpicked and carefully arranged in signed, numbered, and dated lucite cubes. In this final segment of Open Connection, we discover how George Firmenich repurposed sawmill garbage.
This plant could produce a considerable amount of pallets, not so much for the domestic market as for the offshore market. And to market this plant's capacity in the offshore pallet market, it can't happen.
So
it's there.
The limiting factor is getting raw product here.
That's correct.
Currently, that raw product comes from wherever it can be found. That means local sawmills, and in varying amounts, or whatever the mills have for sale. Firmenich thinks more wood that makes its way into chippers and into burners could be used in secondary manufacturing. This series of boards is an example. 3 of the 4 boards you can see will make pallet stock. And since the original board was sawn in half first, there's 3 more just like these. So 3/4 of that original board was remanufactured into something else. In a sawmill, that board was garbage. Next to that area there where you're cutting the pallet stock, there's a waste box, and you said that waste could be utilized as well. What you're currently calling waste, I guess, could be utilized.
That's correct. The shortest board that we can use is 12 inches long. That's in terms, that is what they call trim end.
Who would want that? What would they do with it?
Well, we have an interest in Taiwan that wants those short boards for manufacturing, creating of computers, spacings, bottoms for boxes, stiffeners, etc.
What prevents you from selling them?
Well, we need to mobilize or machinerize a little bit more where we can handle this sort of product at a more cost-efficient way. To handle that product now, palletize it so it's suitable for shipping, right now we just can't do it.
Is that in the works?
That's definitely in the works.
Still working on the utilization of a board then, so you take out the pallet material, then you take out the spacing material once you get to that stage, and you're going to be left with still some waste and some sawdust, but you said eventually that could be utilized as well.
Yes, we're looking into utilizing sawdust and total trim ends, which would be below 12 inches, putting that into a burnable fuel where we could heat or run a small dry kiln in our specialty extraction of window or door stock.
To get more production from this operation, an expansion is planned.
Our immediate plans are in the works to put in a genuine pallet manufacturing plant, which would be coupled on to our reman plant, where a board would go in one end and out the other end would come out a pallet or pallet stock or crate stock.
So currently it has to go through two buildings, so I guess it's just less efficient from a production perspective.
The reman plant is very efficient. We feel it's surpassed our expectations of the amount of wood which we can put through there. A pallet plant is something that we have to spend a considerable amount of money on and improve immensely. But this is already planned out and drawn out. The only thing that left is the time to do it. And hopefully we plan on doing this through this winter.
Until I came here today, I would have said a pallet is a pallet is a pallet, and they're all the same, but that's not true, right?
That is definitely not true. Each pallet has its own characteristics and demands that the customer makes on it. Now, those demands are in the means of the weight factor, which they got to support, to the size, to the length of it, and there's just so many sizes and different types of pallets to name.
So when you're looking in your reman plant, you're cutting the wood, keeping in mind what you're going to make out of it, whether it's a pallet that's going to carry, I don't know, bats of insulation or a lot of rocks or something.
That's correct. We are not the type of mill where it just takes a piece of board and says, well, we'll cut it into this. Before we take a board and run it through our facility, it's already destined where it's going to go, and the size and the thickness and the species becomes crucial.
If plant expansion goes as expected this winter, recovery from the wood that comes on the site will increase by 15%. Firmenich jokingly describes himself as the garbage man of his industry, buying up waste wood and making a living from it.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Open Connection. The greatest distance in the existence of man is not from here to there, but the connection from his mind to his heart. If we can conquer that distance, we can soar like an eagle and realize our immensity within. I'm Robert Pictou.